Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight live on DentonRadio.com. We are broadcasting out of the Discover Denton Welcome Center on the ever-lovely Denton Square. I am sitting here with the amazing, the talented, the ever-mysterious L25. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. Is mysterious, is that okay?
I'm probably the least mysterious person.
I never write these things down, and after 3 years, I've had to come up with a lot of new adjectives, know, and ways to describe people, know. So I was like, okay, let's jog.
Mysterious is cool. I'll go with that.
Okay, yes, we'll say mysterious, All right, well, sweet. Thanks for coming on tonight. Super stoked to have you. We were kind of talking a little bit earlier in the show that you've got some stuff coming up very soon this week. And we've also got a single for you to perform tonight, your track Monster. If you want to release any of the information about that song, I'll let you kind of leak it out if there are things in the future, things that you might have told me before, but I don't want to say anything that I don't have permission to.
He's also mysterious.
Exactly. Precisely. So, one thing that's great is I don't really know anything about you. We've met each other in passing a couple times. Some people come on the show, I've known them for years, sometimes first time meeting them. But I saw your performance back when you were in the band and you guys were up here on Denton Radio. And so when Jake said that, hey, L25's got some new music coming out, and I think it'd be a great opportunity, I was like, yeah, let's make that happen, So great to have you here. Now, the one thing that, when I don't know anything about anybody is we kind of have to start at the grassroots. Now, before we came on, you did an awesome sound check, and your voice is amazing. I'll just put it out there. So now, stick around, make sure you see the live performance.
It's a lot of pressure.
So when, I'm always fascinated by singers because I can't do it at all. So when did you start singing?
Always.
Always?
Yeah. My mom said when I was 2, she would turn the radio on and I would scream. I think that counts.
That's your first form of communication right there, is screaming. Was there anything in particular that you remember your mom playing in the house or anybody else playing music around that made you want to sing more often?
Yeah, my dad is a musician.
Okay.
So that's,
What does he play?
He plays everything except drums, but his first love is guitar.
Okay, very cool. And so, yeah, definitely growing up in a house where somebody's playing music all the time. I mean, did you guys ever have the cute, the father-daughter sing-alongs thing, was it very Brady Bunch-esque,
No, we did make music together for a little bit.
What kind of music was he into back then? What was he playing? What was he listening to?
He liked everything from John Denver.
Okay.
To the Police or Peter Gabriel.
Okay, right on. Yeah.
So there was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got older, I listened to it.
Yeah, for sure.
All the things that you would listen to.
You start to find your own music, I definitely, the reason I know all the songs to Sheryl Crow is because my mom listened to it driving in her car. Yeah. But once I was 13, it was just okay, now I'm starting to find my music. My first music was I remember the first thing I felt was mine was The Offspring and Green Day. Yeah. I remember listening to that when I was 9 or 10, and I was yeah. It's angsty. It expresses how I feel at 9 years old.
Eminem,
huh?
Yeah. Which also expressed how I felt at that age.
My mom told me, she was if you go buy that 8 Mile CD, I'm going to take it. She took... She took.
No, it was pretty explicit and graphic.
Yeah, she took Ludacris's word of mouth from me, which was really upsetting.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some songs on there you might not want your 12-year-old son or 13-year-old son listening to, but I did try to explain to her that it was just the beats.
Oh yeah,
I was
it was.
They just hit. Jermaine Dupri had some really good hits on there, and just Luda's voice too is just so boisterous and fun.
Yeah,
but I understand. I didn't let it get me down. I went and bought that 8 Mile CD and I hid it in my car where very special space,
Yeah.
So, you're listening to the Eminem. What were some of besides Eminem, what was some of the other stuff when you were coming up that you were listening to?
I'm that person that listened to it was the 90s, so I listened to or the early 2000s,
okay,
I guess.
Talk about it.
I know. I was there trying not to bring it up, though.
I was there too. I accept it.
I really did listen to Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
And so did I.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, How could you have not?
Yeah, I mean,
It was everywhere.
yeah, I know.
know?
That was like all you could get. I didn't even know how to find new artists or anything like that when I was that age. Like,
Yeah,
it didn't
for
even
sure.
cross my mind. I just took what was in front of me.
Did you ever
and I
watch like
liked it.
TRL or anything? Yeah, I mean, like Total Request Live on MTV with
No,
Carson
I didn't watch
Daly.
a lot of TV.
Oh man.
Yeah, I missed like
There
the
were-
whole thing.
There were times like I can remember going like over to friends' houses because they were like, "Dude, the new Eminem video drops today. We gotta
Yeah.
be there to see it."
Yeah.
You know. And
Yeah.
now, 18 years later, it's funny to see like these same guys who I know were going home and watching that, being like, "Yo, Eminem, just cut it out. Just cut it out." I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, man. You used to love his music too. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. It's been 18 years. It changes.
Yeah.
You know?
It should.
And so during this time, were you in bands? Were you singing? You know, like you have a very, like, once again, your voice it's powerful,
Thank
when you start singing. You're one of those people who your speaking voice is very, very different than your singing voice.
Yeah, I wish it was closer together. I wish I sounded more like.
But that would be too mysterious
Yeah.
at that point.
People would be like, "Damn, is she telling a story? She's a
Yeah,
storyteller."
Exactly. So how did you kind of start to mold, or I guess like find your voice?
I always liked. I mean, I was in choir, right? So I always like a challenge with my voice. Like, to me, it's fun if it's
Okay.
hard.
Yeah.
And then once I started producing myself a year ago, but I had been working on music for the last 3 years. So when I started out, someone else was producing for me, and so I knew I liked R&B, and that's what I wanted to make, but I didn't know how.
Okay.
And so, which is funny because there's like there's a formula for that, and it's super easy. But at the time, I did not. And I was trying to make I was trying to make my voice sound and fit what they were doing, even though it had some elements of me that I had created. Like, it was too influenced, right? It was actually too rock and roll.
Okay.
For my taste.
Yeah.
For the way I wanted to sing.
For
so
sure.
Then when I started producing myself, I think that's when my voice started developing more, because I was recording myself all the time. So I
Yeah.
could hear everything over and over again until it sounded exactly like, because even like vowels and stuff to me are super important when you're singing, and like the shape of the sound, like the whole thing.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what
The
I
way
mean?
that it's received, the way
Yeah.
the way it comes out of your voice, and just it can like I said, it's very consuming. Like when I
Yeah.
was listening to it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen on monitors. Let's listen to it on the phone. Let's listen on the headphones. It's mixed really, really well. All 3 of the songs that I was listening to on Spotify, and it's a very consuming sound.
Shout out to
you
Cloak
know?
Beats and Richie Flow.
Yeah, yeah.
They helped
good,
me mix it.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah.
So when you say you started producing yourself, some people might have no idea what that means. So what does it mean to produce yourself?
Well, what's crazy is I did not really understand that producing and like sound engineers are 2 separate things. So I'm definitely a producer, which means to me, I may be wrong, but to me it means that I compose everything, I write all the lyrics, and I choose all of the sounds, and I like construct the song. I do
Yeah.
everything except sit for 5 hours trying to get my 808 to sound right. You know what I mean? Because like when I realized the depth of what goes into the actual mixing side of things, because it's crazy what you learn. It's crazy what I hear now versus what I heard then.
Yeah,
right?
for
like,
sure.
like I hear things in the background of songs that I never,
Yeah,
ever,
you never picked up on
ever.
before.
Yeah. Ooh, was that reverb?
I don't know what that
Okay.
was.
But what was the original question? I'm sorry. Oh,
What does
do
it mean to produce
Okay,
yourself? Yeah, and you are answering it.
Okay, cool.
Very well,
Okay.
by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I do all that except the final process.
And I think that's a good point. Like I've always wondered what it would be like to send like one of my beats. Like, okay, I've made this song, I've produced it, I've mixed it to where I'm like, okay, cool, I'm happy with this. But then I send that to somebody else and go, all right, now you put the master chains on it and you do all that stuff. And I've only done it one time, and it came back sounding. I was like, okay, it sounds pretty good. It's a little bit louder, a little bit crisper, but so I was like, all right, well, whoever did it, it sounded better than when I did it, you know. But I've always like, certain songs, I'm like, man, could it sound so much better? Because that is one of the hardest parts is you do the creative thing, and that's a lot of fun. But now you're like, okay, my waveform came out and it's this big. I need it to be this big. How are we going to do that? And you do that through EQ, compression, multiband dynamics, all limiting. And that can take a really, really long time, especially to get good at. And it can take, if you don't have the proper tools, where it's like you don't have to have a lot, but a good set of headphones and monitors is really nice to have. To have a room that doesn't have to be treated or anything, but isn't a metal box, or some are very small room per se. So it took me a lot of time to figure stuff out, and I still feel like every time I sit down and work on something, it's like, okay, I have to treat this completely different,
Yeah.
So I've been reading some stuff about mixing as I've gotten more into it, and my music is less beat oriented and is more trying to make it sound like a full band is playing, but it's just me.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? Even the other day I was listening to 88.1 and they were playing like some jazz driving to work, and I could feel like I was like, oh man, like the crash is panned way over here, and like the keys are a bit panned this way, and the saxophone feels like it's kind of in the back. So the mixing sounded really cool. I was like, I really feel like I'm watching this band play it live in front of me.
The way they sit everything in like a place.
Yeah.
I saw it visualized once where they had like vocals, here or whatever, and drums here, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known about this diagram like 6 months ago.
So did you produce Monster? Like, is this?
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. Good job. You're very talented. All right, let's just get that out of the way right now, because that was actually something I was wondering. I was like, okay, voice is great, man, but like these harmonies and like the way the 808s kicked and everything, I was like, this is very well done.
Thank you.
So very good job.
Thanks.
Very good job. Now I was hoping we could get a live performance of the track if that's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet, awesome. All right, so are you ready?
Are we okay?
This?
We're doing it on the camera.
We're doing it on camera.
On camera. Okay.
It's gonna happen.
Well,
it's gonna be a good time.
Okay.
All right.
Not.
We can go ahead, make sure things are good. We don't want any cords falling down.
I'm gonna take these off for a second.
Okay, you do your thing. We gotta make sure that everything's comfortable. As an artist, as a musician, when you're playing, there's nothing worse than being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've played in heels and like crazy dresses and stuff.
I haven't played in heels or a dress yet.
It is not. I don't play in heels anymore because I can't move like I want. Like I'll like lose my balance and stuff. You know what I mean? It's too much.
Oh yeah, I know. I know a few singers who, if they wore heels, they'd be no good.
Yeah.
Broken ankles all over the place, man.
Yeah.
So it's just dangerous, All right.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry, don't hate me. Can I drink this water real
No,
quick?
please,
Okay, cool.
please. Here, in fact, let's all have a drink of water. If you're watching at home right now, have a drink of water. Why not? Everybody needs to stay hydrated. Mm-hmm. That's good, Great Value tap right there. Great Value is not a sponsor of the show. You got to have one of those. I don't even know what those things are called. A disclaimer at the end of each segment.
Okay.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna do more of those water breaks from now on.
I know. When you talk a lot, like your mouth gets.
That's on my next interview. I'll be like, look, we gotta drink. We gotta have water breaks throughout the show. So. I love how professional. Just one sticker on the laptop.
Okay, so
I got too many on mine. It looks silly now.
When we filmed the music video, I have my setup in the music video.
Okay.
And the Apple logo's on the back.
Oh yeah.
And they covered it up just in case. And I'm like, that looks super cool. Yeah. Because that's my business card. On the back it has all my social media.
Well, there we go. It's not even a sticker. It's a business card.
Know.
How creative.
It's my little logo.
How creative.
It's a pink octopus.
That's awesome.
Like what?
All right. Are we ready to go? We ready to kick it? Are we ready to razzle, dazzle, and mesmerize?
Yeah, I have to play this lightly.
Yeah, let's make sure we're comfortable here.
Okay.
All right.
Are you ready?
Sweet. Yes. All right. So right here, right now, live on DentonRadio.com. This is L25 with the new single, Monster.
Inside my window in the dark, and I always beg you to leave me alone, but you smile instead and you get inside my head. And all those times I gave you what you wanted, but you keep coming back. I am still haunted, and I can't really sleep at all, and I can't really sleep at all. I want you to go. I need you to go. Would you just let me go? I just need you to go. I just wanna sleep. I just need to dream. Would you please let me sleep so I can dream? There was a time when I told you I wanted to die. You said that's fine and that you'd help me. That was enough to keep me alive. And now most of the time I don't cry nearly as often. And all those times I gave you what you wanted, but you keep coming back. I am still haunted, and I can't really sleep at all, and I can't really sleep at all. I want you to go. I need you to go. Would you just let me go? I just need you to go. I just wanna sleep. I just need to dream. Would you please let me sleep so I can dream?
Thank you.
Lovely. Fantastic. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was very good. Great song. See, I'm glad that I was watching when we were doing the cuts in and outs, and I get this listening face is what we call it, but I look really mad when I'm focusing, like listen.
Me
like,
too,
I'll be like,
actually. Yeah.
and I'll be really up here. I'm really enjoying myself, but here it's just. It's like,
Yeah.
I love this song. This song is great. It's fantastic. But I just look angry the whole time. So,
Yeah.
you know, the good work on Jake on the cuts right there. Not showing the listening. He called it the listening face last time. That was very, very nice of him.
Yes.
So when you start writing a track, you know, especially something like, you know, it's not after listening to that song a few times that I really start to kind of pick it like apart in a good way. You know what I
Right.
mean? Where I'm like, okay, this is what's going on here, because there's that melody with your voice, which I'm not even going to try to imitate, you know, which is kind of like the backbone of it, you know, like that.
Yeah. You're
See,
not the first person to try, though. You're not
I'm
the
not
first
even
person to
trying.
try.
I'm just trying to hype mumble.
That's so funny.
You know, so you have that, and then you have those multiple layers of your voice, you know, and the different octaves going on, which just really helps to fill out that mix, and then that kind of has that R&B influence. You know, when I was listening to it, and you know, I always feel really great when like how I kind of hear someone's music is in how they can kind of describe what they liked, what they're listening to, things like that. It does have an R&B influence, but it's also, I mean, like, it's smoky is kind of how I describe it. Like
Cool.
it's
Yeah.
this smoky atmosphere, like I feel it's once again mysterious. I think that's why I said it to you. This smoky, mysterious atmosphere. Like I'm kind of walking through this like very gray forest, but there's this one red apple hanging there. And, you know, it's super weird. That's like
super cool.
You know, but when
that's the imagery
when
that
I
you
was
get from
driving
that.
up here, I was like, okay, let's just But
Yeah.
that's what popped into my head, and that's also where my mind went again this time. So when you were writing this song, how does something like this start about, especially something that gets my imagination going?
Okay, so this song in particular, most songs, I've realized this after writing a few.
Mm-hmm.
Most songs are like two stories that are completely independent of each other, but they are related somehow. So in this one, in Monster, I was having sleep paralysis for a while,
Okay.
like earlier on in my
Mhm.
life, and one night I was like in my dream there was something like evil,
Mm-hmm.
like an evil spirit or whatever
Yeah,
with me.
yeah.
And so in my dream I'm like praying, I guess, and like go away. And so I have sleep paralysis, so I like wake up but I'm not awake, and
Yeah.
while I'm praying this smoke monster comes out of my body and like goes on the ceiling. And I'm like paralyzed and I'm like,
intense, yeah.
this is okay, this is how we die. All right,
But if you know
cool.
anything about sleep paralysis, this is with people who experience this. It's not common for it not to be terrifying.
You know, it's pretty terrifying. Well, I also can't breathe when I have it.
Okay.
So I'm like,
It's even
I have to like
worse,
force
obviously,
myself or
yeah.
whatever. So eventually, that like broke and went
Mhm.
away. And then the song, I wanted to write a creepy monster song, and that was what came to mind.
Yeah, so I guess me walking through this like weird
Yeah.
dark forest, is not all
Yeah.
that far off.
No,
right? All right,
it's not. Good job.
cool. I'm not, I'm not the only weirdo in the room right now.
Well, the
Um,
music videos, yeah.
Okay,
music
so there's a music video
Yes.
now.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So now we've talked
There's
about
gonna be a
that.
music video,
and
and
when,
it's so cool.
Mhm.
I don't
you know-
know when it comes out yet. It will be
Okay.
in March probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it'll be in March. I don't know the date.
Okay, that's exciting. But you're releasing a trailer. It's the 28th now. So when does the trailer?
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday. Yeah.
So
next week,
yesterday.
yeah. No, Monday of next week. Oh yes. Yes. Monday of next week.
Yeah, it's okay. What's today? It's the 18th. You're watching this on the 28th. You got us. It happens.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not mysterious, man. I'm not good at secrets.
Professionalism's out the window.
I know. I'm so
Everything I say, forget it up to this point. No, that's great. It's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. If you're watching this right now, I am somewhere on the beach in Florida, really
Ooh.
enjoying myself.
Yeah.
If it rains down there and it's beautiful here while I'm gone, I'm going to be very frustrated with you dead in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
The weather, not the people. Okay, oh man. Okay, so back to this came from this experience with sleep paralysis, and now when it comes to writing the music for it, how does how do you know when you're happy with it, like the sounds that you're using, the voice, the kicks,
I like
drums,
that
all that
question.
kind of stuff.
Well, I'm still learning,
Mhm.
so I don't trust myself 100% to know. Especially after the process of making this EP,
Yeah.
because I heard what I did, and then I took it to two people separately. Like, I
Mhm.
took it to one person, then I took it to another person, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I obviously my like range of what is acceptable is
Yeah.
not, So, I mean, I want it to sound. I don't know. That's a good question. I started out wanting to make something as commercial as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because I do want to. Like, this is my job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to make something that was like relatable to a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of people.
Exactly. Yeah. We just had a guy last week on the show, Live Like Liam, who was, that's what he really, he talked a lot about the business side and stuff like that,
Yeah.
is where he's
It's
like,
a business.
he's like, yeah, and that's literally what he says. He's like, if I want people to listen to my music, I need to write music that people want to listen to.
Right.
That's a very good point.
But at the same time, because I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because I went to these, there's this producers, like, it's like a networking event that they do every couple months. And if you are a producer, you have to go. It's called Day and Night. A lot of you probably go, but it's called Day and Night, and it's
Okay.
in Dallas, and it's 2 days, and you get people in the room that are like, they have platinum records. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you play your music for them. Like, you make a beat in an hour. You flip a sample, and then you make a beat in an hour, and then you play it in front of 40 other people, and you have, like, real feedback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and there's so much I didn't know, and I only did that in December, I think was the first one I went to, and then I just went to one 2 weeks ago, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, there's so much that I don't even, so, but at the same time, like, they say you have to sound like yourself too.
Yeah.
Because if I sound like, I don't even know what a good example is. Nicki Minaj. That would never happen. But if I sounded like her, like, not even if I tried.
Sound like Lord.
Yeah.
Lord. Billie Eilish.
Like, then there already is a Lord.
Yeah.
So, like, cool. You sound like Lord.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the
you should start a Lord cover band.
Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, like, it's okay to, like, don't try to sound like somebody, but, like, you want to sound maybe as good. Like, you might listen to a producer and you're like, I want my songs to be as loud and booming, but as crisp. And I keep turning it up, but it just keeps sounding good. Like a guy who there's a producer I love named Bureaucratic, and everything that he puts out, he's a mastering engineer too, but it just all sounds so good. So I'll take a song of mine and play it, and then right after that, then I play one of his. And I do accept
test.
I do accept the fact that this is a professional and I am not. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at what I do, but this is somebody who goes on tour and puts, does a lot of mastering stuff for other people, and this is, so I'm not trying to. I don't beat myself up that much, but if I can, like, something else I like to do too is I'll play the 2 tracks at the same time and have the crossfader in the middle on my mixer. And then if, like, one is super loud and the other, and my track is much quieter, I'm like, well, if I were to ever DJ these together, it would be a total dissonant experience in the club or even where you're listening, because all of a sudden I'm shifting over to this song that's quieter. And people are going to be like, okay, wait a minute, what just happened? And now I'm having to make these other adjustments on the fly to have it sound just as big and as loud, And not even loudness. Like Juice of the Emissary said, never sacrifice loudness for sound quality, which I agree with.
Yeah.
But I want it to be loud and have quality sound.
Yeah.
And that's what your music has. That's kind of where I'm getting at it with this, is that it is well mixed. And one of my last questions that I have is, like, what do you feel as far as sending this music off? How do you feel it made the biggest difference to give it to other people? Like, what do you think they did that made the biggest difference to those songs?
They made it, like, bang. You know what I mean? Like, they made it. They put everything where it was supposed to. I had no experience putting any of the sounds where they're supposed to be. Right? Like, I didn't even really, because I mean, I'm brand new.
Yeah.
And then the more you know, the more you realize you're like, oh, I have 70 questions now, so I don't even know where to start. But also, I don't know if you do this, but if I listen to my music with someone else, I immediately think about it more like they would, right? Like, it's easier for me to get a, like, more objective position because I'm listening to it with you, and so there's kind of, for lack of a better word right now, there's kind of like an energy that you feel with somebody, and it's like, most of the time, or I'll, like, watch them. I'll be sneaky, but I'll watch them to see what their reaction is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I used to do that all the time. The one thing that I was bad at was talking. I'd be like, okay, or like I've always.
But this
told
part
people,
right here,
I've always told people they're like, oh, it's not done yet. I'm like, then I don't want to hear it. Because I had a friend of mine once who said, never send me anything that's not done.
I know.
He's like, I'm tired of you sending me stuff, and you're like, oh, it's not done. So then it doesn't sound as good as you think it will, Mike. And then I'm not as impressed as I should be. And then I listen to the one afterward. So just don't send me it until it's done. And I really kind of liked that philosophy, because I was like, okay, that's kind of, like, it's so hard though. Me and my buddies send each other stuff to, like, get them to listen to it, because you guys have this ear over here and over here. But, what he was saying was, like, basically, like, just get the songs done, get them finished, get them sounding as good as you want. And then, and kind of like you're saying, he's listening to it with this different experience than I am, so he might be waiting for something or, expecting something to happen, and then it doesn't to him, but it did to me. And so that's what he's saying. He's like, make sure it is where it needs to be. So then if I do come back with critiques, it's not about the way it sounds. It's just about the way the music made me feel.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
that's
dude,
really good.
Jared.
I'm really bad about that though, because if I get excited, I want to share it with people.
I know for sure. No, and that's why you can have, like, those people that you send it to who you can be like, hey, listen to this. Like, I had a time where I just hadn't set up my monitors yet, and I was just, most of the time when I made music, it would be like whenever my girlfriend would go to work, and then it's my time to watch the baby. Well, I'm not going to go up to my studio while the baby's asleep in the living room, so I just bring the headphones down. Well, mixing in headphones sounds a lot different than on a pair of monitors.
Yes.
And so or when you go to sit in the car, there's those 3 main places that you mix your stuff on. So I'd send it to my buddies and be like, hey, I'm hanging out with the baby right now. She's asleep. Can y'all bump this in the car real quick?
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that I've seen or that I heard was Jack White from the White Stripes. When they recorded the most recent Raconteurs album, he installed a FM radio in his house so that he could transmit it to his car.
No
and then
way.
right from the studio, he could call like the studio engineer and be like, okay, hey, add more reverb to this. Hey, mix that this way. And so they could mix it while he was in the car.
That is
because he knew that's
crazy.
where most people were going to listen to
That
it.
is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And yeah, when they were interviewing him, they were like, "Is that legal?" He was like, "No, but nobody cared."
That's
he's
funny.
like, technically, the FAA or FAA could get mad about it, but he's like, "No, but nobody cared."
Yeah.
So we do have this music video that's going to be coming out.
Yes.
Or it's not fully out, but the preview is going to be coming out soon.
Yes. It's
exactly.
it's like a documentary that has scenes from
Okay.
the music video.
Now, does the video? Because I mean, we talked about the imagery of the song, and so does it kind of mirror that at all? Like, I mean, it could take a lot of special effects to do what we were talking about, but is there that kind of?
No, we filmed it. It's okay. So it is also a story. The second half of the song is about I don't know if I can say this on here. I was struggling with thoughts of suicide.
Okay.
And I told somebody that I wanted to kill myself, and they told me that like they would help me. I'm not really going to go into the whole detail of the story, but so, and I was young, and so the music video is me in a really cool costume because I'm extra.
Yeah.
And also a woman, she's 17. To me, she's a girl. I guess she's a woman that plays me. It's implied though. It's not. It's kind of abstract in some ways, but you understand what's happening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We've only been talking for about 45 minutes, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't abstract.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
You're welcome. I feel like I don't know, but there's this one part. So I had people like put me in costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have like a headpiece that has like feathers on it.
Nice.
I'll show you a picture.
Went all out.
Yes, I did. It was my first music
You
video.
see how excited she is?
Oh my gosh.
But the music video is going to be done. See, she didn't send
Yeah.
just the raw cuts to people, even though she was very excited.
I
So.
am. We painted my hands black and put gold glitter on it, and I turn into a monster. I
Nice.
transform
Very
over
cool.
the course of the video or whatever. And it's the coolest thing. When we were filming it, because they let me see some of the shots when we filmed it, they would flip the screen around, but they won't let me watch myself because they said it'll mess you up.
Yeah.
Which it would have.
Yeah.
But they let me see like my hands on the screen, and it looks like special effects.
Nice.
Like it just the way he lit everything.
Yeah.
You know.
That's really, really cool.
So yeah, it was.
Well, I'm excited.
Super cool.
That
Yeah,
should
me
be
too.
wonderful to see. And then when the
Yes.
whole video's out, that's going to be awesome as well. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks
it's been
for
a pleasure
having
to have
me.
you. Great
Thank
to
you.
like finally talk with you through all the
You
times
too,
we've just
yeah.
kind of crossed paths. Like, hey, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Once again, y'all, we've had L25 on the show tonight, Sound Values with Kind Beats, and that was a fantastic performance. Keep an eye out for the new music video, Monster, and go listen to the single right now on your favorite music distributor. I will see y'all in March. It's going to be a good time here on Sound Value. See y'all next time right here on DentonRadio.com. Peace.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Do you love live music? If so, make Denton, Texas your next vacation. Find more information at discoverdenton.com.